King's Gambit lovers, unite. This is Soren, your chess friend. I'm a scholastic in chess and I'd like to look at exciting lines. I've already made a few videos on the King's Gambit and there is a lot of info to cover. Now, I have chosen for today the Quaade's variation, the Quaade's Gambit. I think in the 19th century there was a Dutch player that approached this line with white versus black. Now, again, this is a sharp, risky stuff to play, King's Gambit. Not for every chess player, not for every chess personality. You might be happier with the Ruy Lopez, or the Queen's Gambit, which is less riskier, But if you really like to do super exciting, fiery lines, King's Gambit's for you. All right, so now, guys, let's have a look at the Quaade's Gambit. So, e4, e5, and yes, you guessed it, f4. That's what we looking at, guys. King's Gambit, our beloved King's Gambit. So, assuming black takes, you play knight f3. Of course, you could play bishop c4 for being very aggressive, targeting the f7. Nothing wrong at all. But let's have a look at knight f3 because I want to get into a specific sideline here. And g5 considered the main refutation of the King's Gambit. Traditionally, you may also be replying here with h4. But let's just having a look at knight c3. Because also there might look like an invitation for black to move the g5, pursuing your knight and attacking it, because there is a little bit of a subtlety here. There is a thing, after knight on f3 moves in this position. Remember, previously we said h4 is a possibility because this square has something very special, especially because black wants to attack. And after knight plays, let's say like knight e5, the most aggressive line, and I like to propose this to you, my chess friends, is that the black queen will check your king, very likely. Okay, so you need to be prepared because this is also a huge possibility. And if you play this sequence of moves, it might be surprising for your opponents. Maybe you will bank in a quick victory. So anyway, the knight that you play on e5 does a couple of things. More than just the red arrows that you could read on a screen right now. So more than just attacking twice on the g4 square, it does something else, and obviously it targets the f7. We're going to get there shortly. Now, we said the main threat could be from the black queen to h4, checking your king, as you could see now. If this were to happen, do not move your king. Don't move the white king. Don't do something like king e2. That's not the best reply. I'm going to remind you, if you've forgotten or if you've never played it, I'm going to tell you what's the main response white needs to give black in here in this position. And it's not king to e2, my chess friends. It's not. It's g3, which does a couple of things here. Obviously, you blocking the check and attacking the queen. And obviously, you're still having the double attack on g4. Now, obviously, queen can't take here because you got a pawn, but they might take with the pawn. They might take with the pawn. Now, after they recaptured on g3, you need to take back on g4. You need to take the pawn on g4. That is something you must do immediately. Take on g4 with the white queen. So you got to take on g4. You must do that. Okay? Now, if something happens on this pawn, you'll be able to just simply remove the black queen. And when I said if something happened with that pawn, is that black might be feeling very tempted to just pushing the pawn forwards. Discovering check and threatening to grab another rook and queening. It's possible that that might happen. And if that's the case, first, you've got to collect the black queen. And when they take your queen here, you already have a bit of an edge. You have actually a bit more than an edge. You have quite a super powerful attack. And you'll see here, guys, that although you've lost the rook seemingly, you actually have a more powerful attack than black here. Because the knight is in a very central position, the queen is on h4, and you'll be combining it with the knight for deadly threats. This pawn will be pushed forwards. This guy on c3 will be playing on d5. And this bishop will be moving with tempo out of the back rank. And you will have an incredibly powerful attack and super difficult for black to deal with. So first thing first, black shouldn't even get into this position. Because if they do, it's very problematic for black already. And let me prove it to you now. You're going to play queen to h5. What does that mean, my chess friends? Well, as you could see right now, this is an incredibly strong check coming on f7. So black needs to defend against it. Again, the queen can't check your king now because this pawn is defended by the knight. So you're totally safe for the time being. And more than that, not just that you're safe, you're actually conducting a very strong attack. So the best defense for black is to respond to knight h6 because you need to defend the f7, to which you will be adding more fuel to the fire by playing the move d4. That already reveals the bishop's diagonal. You want to remove the defender of f7. Okay, now the best reply again would be d6. You know, they just try to take stuff from you if you want to take stuff from them, but you already are very, very deadly here because you're going to take on h6 first, again, attacking twice on f7, and in case they capture your knight, remember, you could play an incredibly strong check now and threatening another heavy piece here. Do you see this, guys? This is a fork. You're going to play a fork right now. Pause it for a second, and if you haven't seen it yet, your beautiful queen will go very nicely on e5, checking the king and attacking the rook in the corner. And it's very bad news for your opponents because as soon as you play this one, you're threatening so many things here. But more importantly, the rook in the corner. And you've got a solid +1/5, +2 here with white because you more ferociously in your attacks endeavor now. And I don't know, I'm just giving an example. It could be bishop e7, not just bishop e6, but they all equally bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. There is no good move here for black to play. You're going to take the rook. Still, the bishop will be pinned after your queen collects the rook in the corner. And you're already doing very well here, better than your opponent. You will be castling, long castling. Okay, so black needs to be careful because then you'll be playing your bishop attacking the queen. You've got two powerful pawns right in the middle, ready to march on. The bishop on f8 will be captured. Yes, they might be replying something with knight d7, you know. Now, if you really want to make it funky, just castle the king, okay, and you'll be absolutely fine. Or just recapture and take on f8. Again, I don't know, best move for them would be either long castling or taken on f8. It's absolutely fine. And you again now, don't forget to castle, and you're doing incredibly well with white in this King's Gambit Quaade variations. So guys, let me just go back. That was the Quaade variation of the King's Gambit. Yes, I remember we did a video with the double Muzio Polarium Gambit. That's another incredibly aggressive line to which you play something like bishop to c4, and if they do g5, you're going to play knight on f3. Just quick reminder for you, my chess friends, this is a very risky line, indeed very funky for white to play, but if black doesn't defend in the double Muzio Polarium Gambit, they will get in trouble. Okay, so that's the Polarium I'm showing you now. You're going to castle, they're going to take, you're going to capture here. Best defense for them would be something like queen f6, to which, boom, you give this pawn, they take. You take on f7, king takes, boom, another pawn, they take. You're going to play bishop e3. They can't take here because you're going to take the queen and the king is in check, and they need to defend very, very, very accurately because otherwise they're getting in trouble here, okay? And let me go back to our Quaade variation, guys. So that was the Polarium Muzio, but you may want to experiment, guys, with knight f3. Yeah, you could play bishop c4, of course. And after this one, you could also do h4 if you don't like the line, but I think you should totally embrace it because there's nothing wrong with this. This is absolutely fine. Very playable by white, my chess friends. Very, very, very playable. Queen checks you. G3 is the correct response here. And after they capture, don't take back, obviously, because the rook is hanging. You will not want to take back. You may even get a check if they don't want to take your rook, and it doesn't look good for white. So the response is queen captures to G4. And if they were to push it forward, take the queen, they take in the corner. Now you're going to play the queen onto h5 because you want to attack f7. That's a very, very critical, traditionally very weak square in the King's Gambit, my chess friends. Knight h6 and now d4. Beautiful pawn pair right in the middle of the board. Your bishop attacking on h6. And again, remember d6, you're going to take this guy, they're going to capture you, you're going to check on e5. The king, to which they might be playing bishop on e6 or bishop on e7. Grab that rook and then castle your king. Everything is perfectly fine. Play this with white and I'm pretty sure you will have way more chances to win if he gets into this specific position. Thanks very much for watching, boys and girls. I'll see you shortly, perhaps with more variation of the King's Gambit. If you want to discuss another stuff about the King's Gambit or any other opening, just let me know. Drop in a comment, and I'll see you guys either on Twitch or I'll see you on Chess.com or on Lee Chess, and we'll be playing perhaps live if you visit my live Twitch stream. Thanks very much, boys and girls. See you soon.